Such an important song right here on NRP Radio, Majesty by the Grace Thrillers for you on a Tuesday morning like this. We thank you so much for keeping it locked right here on this station. Of course, we've got to pause at this time and to bring you the latest news right here on the station. And as you know, on a day like this, we do have the hurricane bearing down on Jamaica. So let's go into the news right now. It's 6:32. Good morning and welcome to our platforms, nrpmediaja.com on our radio platform. Also Facebook at LEAON Nash and YouTube at NRP Media JA. It's Tuesday, July 2, 2024. I am Leon Nash with the NRP Break of the Newscast. The headlines: hurricane warning remains in effect for Jamaica as Hurricane Beryl strengthens while moving on a track towards the island. Due to the impending hurricane, many businesses, including banks, have adjusted their opening hours to allow staff to return home before the impact of the hurricane. Jamaicans urged by the Prime Minister to take the necessary precautions for Tropical Storm Beryl, which is expected to impact the island by Wednesday. And the Prime Minister has also informed that Cabinet is contemplating implementing orders under the Disaster Risk Management Act to give the government the necessary powers to respond quickly to eventualities from Hurricane Beryl. And the police, in a display of readiness and interagency cooperation, has sought to assure the nation that all necessary measures are in place to mitigate the impact of the impending hurricane. And the details of the news now. A hurricane warning remains in effect for Jamaica as Hurricane Beryl strengthens while moving on a track towards the island. This means that the following dangerous effects of a hurricane are expected to affect Jamaica in 36 hours or less. Dangerously high water, or a combination of dangerously high water and exceptionally high waves, even though winds expected may be less than hurricane force, and an average wind of at least 119 kilometers per hour or 74 miles per hour is expected. At 10 p.m. yesterday, the eve of the Hurricane Beryl was located. The eye, that should be, let me read it again. At 10 p.m., the eye of Hurricane Beryl was located near latitude 13.8 degrees north, longitude 64.9 degrees west. This is about 825 kilometers or 510 miles east-southeast of Isla Beta, Dominican Republic, or 1,355 kilometers or 840 miles east-southeast of Kingston, Jamaica. Beryl is moving towards the west-northwest near 35 kilometers per hour or 22 miles per hour and is forecast to continue moving rapidly west-northwest during the next couple of days. And on this forecast track, the center of Beryl will move quickly across the southeastern and central Caribbean Sea last night through to Tuesday and is forecast to pass near Jamaica on Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 260 kilometers per hour or 160 miles per hour with higher gusts. Beryl is now a potentially catastrophic Category 5 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. Fluctuations in strength are likely during the next day or so. But Beryl is expected to remain near major hurricane intensity as it moves into the central Caribbean on Tuesday and passes near Jamaica on Wednesday. Some more weakening is expected thereafter, although Beryl is forecast to remain a hurricane in the northwestern Caribbean. Hurricane force winds extends outward to 65 kilometers per hour, 40 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward to 205 kilometers or 125 miles. all small craft operators, including fishers from the quays and banks, should by now have completed all the necessary safety precautions and are advised to remain in safe harbor until all warning messages have been lifted and wind and sea conditions have returned to normal. The Met Service says that it will continue to monitor the progress of Hurricane Beryl, and all interests are encouraged to pay special attention to further releases. In other news, due to the impending hurricane, many businesses, including banks, have adjusted their opening hours to allow staff to return home before the impact of the hurricane. That's for today. So far, both the National Commercial Bank and Bank of Nova Scotia have indicated that they will be closing their doors as soon as noon today to facilitate staff returning home to complete preparations or to get to safe heights. For NCB, it has indicated that its banking facilities will remain closed on Wednesday to allow for any cleaning up of activities after today and will resume normal activities on Thursday. Let me read it again. For NCB, it has indicated that its banking facilities will remain closed tomorrow, Wednesday, to allow for any cleaning up activities and will resume normal activities on Thursday. Furthermore, Jamaicans are being urged by Prime Minister Andrew Holness to take the necessary precautions for the impending hurricane, which is expected to impact the island by Wednesday. According to the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, the hurricane, which now poses a threat to countries in the Eastern Caribbean, is expected to rapidly strengthen and become a major hurricane, and which is now, by the time it reaches the Windward Islands, bringing destructive gale force winds and storm surges. And by all means, information reaching our newsroom is that the hurricane has devastated several countries within its line of movement, and we'll get some more information on that during the course of today. The Prime Minister added that he is encouraging all Jamaicans to get their precautionary stock in place. These include food, batteries, candles, and supplies of water. He reminded that if there are trees that could be in danger to these these should also be cut down, or that these should be cut down. Mr. Holness advised that several response agencies have been placed on alert for the hurricane. That is, if the worst should occur, the government is prepared to deal with it. The Prime Minister maintained that persons should be mindful of the fact that 2024 Atlantic hurricane season is on the way, and individuals should by now have either taken the necessary steps to safeguard themselves or be in the process of doing so against adverse weather events should these occur. Furthermore, the Prime Minister yesterday afternoon informed that Cabinet is contemplating implementing orders under the Disaster Risk Management Act to give the government the necessary powers to respond quickly to eventualities from Hurricane Beryl. Mr. Holness said a decision would be communicated by 5 yesterday, and after Cabinet met to further discuss reports from ministries and agencies. He said the thinking is to give the security forces more room to operate before and after the hurricane as they guard against negative behaviors such as looting. Further, he said the move is to ensure a framework is in place for accountability. And as indicated, our newsroom understands that the nation's security forces have been deployed to both avert any security challenge that may arise from the passage of the hurricane, as well as to assist Jamaicans with challenges they may encounter. And in the display of readiness and interagency cooperation, the Jamaica Constabulary Force has sought to ensure the nation that all necessary measures are in place to mitigate the impact of the impending Hurricane Beryl. Speaking at a multi-agency press briefing held at the Jamaica House yesterday, Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake outlined the extensive preparations undertaken by the JSF, emphasizing a state of heightened preparedness and a collaborative approach with key stakeholders. Preparations for Hurricane Beryl began last Thursday with a series of strategic meetings involving area commanders, and he indicated that the JCF is now poised to activate incident command centers across the island as of 6 p.m. today. Commissioner Blake highlighted the readiness to stand up these centers and underscoring the JCF's proactive approach. He says that preparation for the oncoming hurricane commenced on Thursday of last week, where he started off with a series of meetings with air commanders, now in a state of readiness to stand up incident command centers right across the island. And this, he says, will happen as of 6 p.m. today. In a concerted effort to ensure comprehensive preparedness, he says the JCF has engaged with various external stakeholders, including the Jamaica Defense Force, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, the Disaster Preparedness Committee, and the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association. Divisional commanders, he says, have also been actively meeting with parish disaster committees and have had several meetings with some of their external stakeholders, including the JDF, ODPEM, and Disaster Preparedness Committee, and hotel groups having dialogue and discussion in terms of their readiness. The JCF, as advised by the Commissioner, has devised a four-tier management structure to ensure effective coordination and response. This structure includes a headquarters management team, a corporate area management team, command teams at the area level, and divisional management teams. These teams will feed information into the national JCF headquarters for comprehensive coverage, and will operate in a four-tier management structure, which includes headquarters management team that looks at the national picture and plugs into the other national apparatus. A 48-hour curfew extension has been imposed in sections of Green Island, Hanover. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Monday, July 1, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. Wednesday, July 3. The boundaries of the curfew are north at Orange Bay Square along the highway to the small bridge beside Lobster Smokehouse, east along an imaginary line from the small bridge beside Lobster Smokehouse to Marchtown Square, south from Marchtown Road along an imaginary line through Dam Road District to the entrance of Dam Road, west from the entrance to Dam Road District along the main road to Orange Bay Square. During the hours of the curfew, all persons within the boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by commander. You're listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitation. Now let's give you some sporting information brought to you by Four Seasons Sports Closet and Equipment. They are located over there in Mandeville in Manchester. And if you have any need at all, then please go on over and talk with Four Seasons Sports Closet in Mandeville.
Four Seasons Sports and Equipment, the Sports Closet, now located at shop number 3, Leaders Plaza, Nashville, Mandeville, Manchester. Call them today at 876-613-7429. Cellular phone 876-363-8323 or 876-546-0630. Yes, you asked for it and now you got it. Four Seasons Sports and Equipment. Shop with us for a wide range of sporting goods and equipment. It's Four Seasons Sports and Equipment. Sports Closet, you'll never go asking for anymore.
Welcome back. And in our sports stories, we kick off on football news. Cristiano Ronaldo was left in tears after his penalty was saved in extra time, but Portugal still progressed to the quarterfinals of the Euro 2024 following a dramatic shootout victory over Slovenia. Portugal's superstars, the captain, saw his penalty kept out by Atletico Madrid goalkeeper Jan Oblak, and he was consoled by his teammates as fans chanted his name in the stands. But he recovered to score his country's first penalty in the shootout, where goalkeeper Diego Costa saved all 3 kicks he faced before Manchester City's Bernardo Silva netted the winning kick. Ronaldo was involved in the thick of it throughout the night as he searched for his first goal at Euro 2024. But before his penalty was tipped onto the post, he wasted a golden opportunity in the final minute of normal time, drilling his shot straight at Oback, having seen countless crosses fly over his head throughout the 120 minutes of blockbuster action. Eventually, Portugal's persistence paid off as Slovenia crumbled in the shootout, and Costa's heroics ensured Ronaldo Euro's dream continues. Portugal had dominated for long periods and could have led in the first half, but Gio Palina struck the post. Slovenia was defended with grit and resilience, had chances of their own, and will regret Benjamin Sesko's failing to score when through one-on-one with the Portugal goalkeeper Costa, who made a fine save with his left foot in the final minutes of extra time. Portugal now play France in the quarterfinals in Hamburg on Friday, while Slovenia leave the competition in the cruelest of manners. Finally, on cricket, inside of our sports news, 14 wickets fell on a traditional day of day 2 of the Kia Oval as Surrey edged themselves ahead in a top-of-the-table contest against Essex. County Championship Division 1 leaders Surrey resumed on 248 for 8, made sure of a batting bonus point before being bowled out for 262, but second place Essex were then dismissed for 180 in their own innings. And on a well-grassed pitch giving assistance to the quicker bowlers, Surrey then struggled to 44 for 3 in their second innings, but still took their overall lead to 126. Only Paul Walter, who top scored with 64, and Matt Critchley, 48, held up the Surrey team attack for any length of time. But Jamie Porter, Shane Snater, and Ethan Bosk will all struck new ball blows for Essex before Bad Light lopped 27 overs off. That's sports, brought to you courtesy of Four Seasons Closet and Equipment. They're over there in Mandeville in Manchester. Join us this evening again inside of our newscast. Hopefully we can be here pending on the hurricane, and to provide for you another sportscast inside of our news roundup. Thank you so much for keeping it locked right here on NRP Radio. We're going to be heading overseas now to give you the latest from the VOA as we close off the local news and sports right here in the NRP Break of Day newscast. Overseas we go to the VOA for international news.
This is VOA News. I'm Alexis Strope. Israel forces order Palestinians to be on the move again in Gaza. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
The Israeli army has ordered a mass evacuation of Palestinians for much of Khan Yunis in Gaza, a sign that troops are likely to launch a new ground assault into the Gaza Strip's second largest city. The order suggests the city will be the latest target of Israel's raids into parts of Gaza it had previously invaded in the war, as it pursues regrouping Hamas militants. Much of Khan Yunis was destroyed in a long assault earlier this year, but large numbers of Palestinians have moved back to escape another Israeli offensive in Gaza's southernmost city, Rafah. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Monday criticized the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity that was seen as a win for his election rival, former President Donald Trump. Gabe Singer from Reuters reports.
For all practical purposes, today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent, because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States.
The U.S. Supreme Court found on Monday in a 6-3 ruling that Trump cannot be prosecuted for any actions that were within his constitutional powers as president, but can be for private acts. It's a landmark ruling recognizing for the first time any form of presidential immunity from prosecution, but stops short of allowing absolute immunity for all official acts.
Gabe Singer from Reuters. Hurricane Beryl has strengthened to a Category 5 status as it crosses islands in the southeastern Caribbean. Beryl ripped off doors, windows, and roofs in homes across the southeastern Caribbean on Monday. It had been the earliest Category 4 storm in the Atlantic, fueled by its record warm waters. This is VOA News.
Thank you very much for that latest update there from the Voice of America International News there for you as we continue inside of our newscast this morning. Stand by now for the latest weather update from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. And the Met Service says that there's a significant feature of Hurricane Beryl that is across the eastern Caribbean Sea. Hurricane Beryl is currently projected to pass just south of Jamaica tomorrow. Hurricane conditions are very including extremely dangerous winds, storm surge, widespread rainfall, and thunder showers. A hurricane warning remains in effect for Jamaica at this time. In the 24-hour forecast today, partly cloudy, windy across northern parishes. Tonight, becoming cloudy, showers and isolated thunderstorms are expected across eastern parishes, windy across northern parishes. In terms of the 3-day forecast, starting tomorrow, that's Wednesday through to Friday. On Wednesday, hurricane conditions are expected, including extremely dangerous winds, storm surge, widespread rainfall, and thunderstorms. On Thursday, morning showers and isolated thunderstorms are expected across southern and northwestern parishes, cloudy and windy during the daytime. Otherwise, on Friday, it will be cloudy and windy with periods of showers and thunderstorms across most parishes. In terms of other current regional weather features, there's a Category 5 Hurricane Beryl that is currently located 1,120 kilometers east-southeast of Kingston, Jamaica. There's an area of low pressure across the central tropical Atlantic that has a low chance of becoming a tropical cyclone over the next 7 days. That's been watched. Maximum temperatures expected for Kingston and Montego Bay today, 35 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 34 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. That is the latest weather report and forecast right here on NRP Radio. Thank you for staying with us. And with that, we've come to the end of our newscast right here on NRP Radio and NRP Media. Let's give you the headlines once again. Hurricane warning remains in effect for Jamaica as Hurricane Beryl strengthens while moving on a track towards the island. Due to the impending hurricane, many businesses, including banks, have adjusted their opening hours to allow staff to return home before the impact of the hurricane. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, let me give that to you now. The Jamaicans are being urged by Prime Minister Andrew Holness to take the necessary precautions for the impending storm, which is expected to impact the island by tomorrow. And the Prime Minister says the cabinet is contemplating implementing orders under the Disaster Risk Management Act to give the government the necessary powers to respond quickly to eventualities. And the police, too, have stepped up their preparations as they prepare for the impending hit by the hurricane. That's news right here on NRP Radio and NRP Media. We urge you to keep yourself safe as much as possible. Do all the preparations that you need to make so as to ensure that when the hurricane does come, that you will be all right. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can right here on this story, on this station. If you know of or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp 876-336-9928. And until we meet again this evening inside of the NRP Evening News Roundup, my name is Leon Nash, asking you to go to our YouTube channel at NRP Media JA and subscribe. And reminding you too that if you walk, ride, or drive, make every effort to arrive alive. This has been our newscast right here on this station. Stay tuned for coming up next at 7 o'clock. Let the Word Speak with Reverend Paul Blair.
Discover the power of seamless connection with Suritsu Communications, your go-to wireless internet provider. Right here in your backyard, our expert team delivers state-of-the-art internet service promptly and professionally. Choose from our comprehensive packages: AirSpeed, Home, Advanced, or Custom, all designed for the data-driven user. Ready for lightning-fast internet? Call us at 876-333-1926 or 876-333-1927 and be online within hours. Suritsu Communications, where we're not just connecting homes, we're building communities through technology.
Start baking right now. I taste some things from the baker up there so, and the next one around there so, but them not taste so good.
So what you do then?
I just decide to go down to Caledonia Mall in Mandeville and Williamsfield and buy my things at Better Taste Bakery, my dear.
So what them have?
For all your Christmas breads, buns, bullas, jackas, corn, and other baked stuff, come visit us today and make your special purchase at our Williamsfield location as well as at Shop 5 Caledonia Plaza in Mandeville.
We're opened Mondays to Saturdays for your shopping pleasure.
Call us for your special order at telephone number 876-624-0555 and 876-961-0575.
Better Taste Bakery.